Hello, welcome to. Oh, it's not started yet. There we go. Hello, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our live training today. I am going to jump right in. I wanted to talk about, make sure all my things are set up. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Cool. Goals and starting and stopping and quitting and really having a lot of energy forward and then not. One of the things that when I'm having conversations with you all, either in the DMs, on comments, in my trainings, in person events, even on my consultations, one of the things that comes up is like, Regina, oh my gosh, like you are just everywhere. You're doing all the things. And you're also a mom, you're a wife, you work your nurse gig part time, you homeschool, you're in the community volunteering. How do you do all the things? And also, life happens, right? I've been very transparent as much as possible about things that have happened in my life. I have 4 children, ages 5 to 20. So if you are a mom, you absolutely can understand where I'm coming from on that life is lifing, okay? But how do I keep going? How am I able to continue and work towards my personal goals, business and personal, right? Not just business. How is it possible? So that's what I want to talk to you about today. And if you're watching the replay, say hello, let me know that. And I also want you to drop your questions. I want to be able to answer specific questions here. I'm going to do maybe 15, 20 minutes of teaching, and then I'll leave time for Q&A. If there's any questions you have, just drop them in the chat, even if you in the comment section, even if you are joining later and watching the replay. I respond to all of them, and my job is here to help you. So, when we talk about goals, what I know to be true is that every woman has something she's working towards. They may look different. Your goal might be different than the next person. It might be a personal goal, might be a professional, it might be both, right? But we all have goals that we are constantly working towards. And even if you haven't specifically started working towards a goal, you have things that you want in your life. You have something you want different. I want to make more time for myself. I want to be a better parent. I want to stop yelling at my kids. I want to save money. I want to have more fun. I'm going hard at work, but I don't know what it looks like to have more fun. I had a client that really, we were talking yesterday, and she really wants to get to know more people. She's in this space where her children are older. She actually now has the capacity and the time to make friends. And she's like, ooh, I don't know how, right? You have something that you have been working on and probably that you've started and you likely stopped. So I want to talk a little bit about that and then how to get you to not do that. When you ask me, like, how do you keep going no matter what happens? I'm going to share in this live how I do that. And this is going to be really important because even if you're on the up and up right now and you're like working hard and you're feeling really good, you will have the opportunity to quit on yourself. And that's important for you to know. This isn't something that just happens. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. Everyone, no matter how good you are at showing up for your goals, you're going to have the opportunity to quit. And this live, what I want to show you and help you see is how to not do that. How I keep going no matter what's happening in my personal life, professional life. Saturday, I spoke a lot about failure. There was a live I did, and I know it cut off, but the live I did at the Savvy Mini Women's Minicon was around how to go for 1,000 no's. How do you keep going? Why is it important? And it's all about shifting the way that we see things, okay? So I'm going to share that today. First, you might be thinking, is she talking to me? If you have a goal, I'm talking to you. If you find yourself thinking about something you want to shift in your life, something you want to work towards, like the thought comes and then it immediately leaves because your brain's like, oh, I don't have time for that, or life's too busy right now, or I don't know how I'm going to make that happen. I'm talking to you. If you work towards goals, but you find yourself, you keep quitting, I'm also talking to you. I want to first normalize this situation, especially as women, moms, especially if you are in a professional space, if you're a business owner, why we start and stop on our goals. This might look like you start on something, you got the motivation, like you might be the person's like super motivated in the beginning, you go, and eventually it fizzles out. Or you lose that momentum, right? You start slowing down, you lose that motivation, and you just quit, and then you go back to it some months later, weeks later, sometimes years later, right? This might be that you start on something and then life happens. We'll talk about those different types of lives happening. Or it might be, you might be the person that like, I have a lot of ideas. I have dreams. I have things I see myself living a different life. I see myself having slow mornings. I see myself having slow evenings. I see myself not being exhausted and overwhelmed and having more time for the people I love and for myself, but I've not been able to get myself to do that. I'm talking to you, okay? I want to first normalize why this happens. Nothing is wrong with you. Seriously. There's nothing wrong with you. You have a very normal brain, and that's actually why this is happening. Your brain's working very well. So drop your questions as you're listening about these things I'm getting ready to teach you. If something feels off, if you're like, I don't know, well, what about this? What about that? That is where I want you to use the comments because I want this to be a conversation, even if you're watching the replay. All right. So I want to normalize this. Life can get busy. We have work, we have our children, and who knows, things we can hit with. Again, my kids are ages 5 to 20. There's nothing that I probably haven't experienced in some kind of shape, way, or form, right? And you're not prepared for that. Things happen with their life, and now that's encumbering on your life, right? Work. A lot of you all have some demanding jobs. You have to show up. You have people behind you. You have things you need to do there. Then you have to get home and be a mom, be a wife, be a business owner. You're trying to maybe even get your side hustle up and going, right? Not to mention wanting to have a social life. All of these things are very real circumstances in your life. So that's one to normalize. We actually do have things that happen in our life that's like, whew, I didn't see that coming, that can knock you off your square. Secondly, your brain is naturally resistant. What I mean by that is, I always tell my clients, your brain is not here to help you thrive in this life and have an amazing time. You have to decide that. Your brain's here to help you survive. And unfortunately for you and for me, survival means the same. Doing the same. Let's not do anything new. Let's not push ourselves. Let's not go after that dream. Let's just chill. Let's let our life where it is now stay where it is. So you have a natural part of your brain that offers you thoughts, the same thoughts that keep you quitting on yourself because your brain does not care about you thriving and doing what your heart wants. Your brain is like, let's just be safe, meaning let's just be the same and stay as is. That's a normal part. Then you add in conditioning and socializing, like the socialization that we've all experienced. I always talk about, I am not anti school, but from school, from our parenting, we have been taught to shrink. We have been taught to hide. We've been taught to just do status quo and do what's normal, do what's okay. Don't go against the grain. And then our brain naturally likes to be liked. We like to be in community. And so your brain will do anything it can to prevent yourself from feeling anything negative, period. Okay. So you have all of that working against you. I hope you see from that it's very normal. If you keep starting and stopping and quitting or not even getting started on your goals, I hope you understand now, oh, this is a normal thing that happens to a normal brain when you don't know how to manage it, when you don't know how to work through your brain's natural resistance and you don't know how to handle things when life happens. Okay. So, what I want to share with you though, one of the most powerful things that can keep you, I'm going to share a few things, but to keep you in the game. I'm going to just say these in order. I don't really have a specifics of what's more important or not. I think they all work together. But first of all, you have to be decided. I dropped a podcast yesterday on the power of decision. And what I find is that most of us think we are deciding, but we're not. When you're thinking about doing something, when you're weighing the pros and cons, when you are then troubleshooting, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? That's not deciding. That's overthinking. That's ruminating. And it actually takes energy from you. We don't know that thinking is an energy suck. The most successful people, when you ask me, how do I get more done in a day? Most people get done in a month because I make fast, efficient decisions and I move on. Most of you all, especially when it comes to your goals, you spend more time thinking about your goals than actually implementing. And the implementation comes from decision. So before you go anywhere else, you want to be decided. What do I want? Not what do I think is easy? What do I think I can do? What do I think is feasible? No. What do you want? What do you want to experience? Do you want more time alone? Do you want to have a slow morning? Every morning, a couple times a week. What does that look like? Do you want to meet more friends? Do you want to build your savings account? Do you want to start saying no to things you know you really don't want to do? Do you want to say no to people that you're not really interested in anymore? What do you want? You want to be super specific, because if you are not clear on that, what you want, none of this matters. Your brain is going to keep ruminating and thinking and getting thinking and thinking. So if you're struggling there, drop your questions. Drop your, like, if you're struggling to decide, tell me why in the comments. I can help you through that. And if you're watching the replay, I'll come back and I will respond. But that's first and foremost. Many of you are stuck at deciding because you're waiting on life to get easier. You're waiting on things to feel simple. You're waiting to feel comfortable. And you're waiting to have this fail-proof plan. None of it is happening. And when we come to terms with that, then we're able to move forward. Now, what's required is for you to trust yourself, for you to trust that, you know what? I don't know if I can make this work. I don't know what's going to happen in a year from now if I go after this or I make this decision. I don't know what that person's going to say. I don't know what our relationship is going to look like. I don't know X, Y, and Z, but I trust myself to figure it out to move forward. Okay. So we first have to make the decision. When you've made the decision on what you want, this goal, this is what I'm doing, you have to expect your brain to freak out. The freak out doesn't look like a big fire. It looks like very much logic. It's like, oh, well, you're busy. The kids got this and this going on. Oh, it's not the right time. Oh, I can do that when ... right? That's what your brain is going to do. I want you to expect that. Instead, when that happens, you allow your brain to take you out of that and you stop. Hi, Kiani. I'm glad you are here. I'm struggling with making decisions on my future goals. Tell me why. That is really important. Why? And your brain is going to say, I don't know, because that's what the brain does. I want you to let your brain say that and pause and then, okay, but I do know. Why? What's making this difficult? What's that one thing in the way? And then I'll come back to your comment. And so it's important to know we need to make a decision about what we're doing. Many people aren't reaching goals because you haven't decided. You're thinking more than deciding. There's a very different perspective. You know this because I've had consultations with clients and I've worked with clients to help them through this, where they literally had this entire dream laid out from start to finish. It's so vivid, from the plans to what it would look like to what it would feel, and they haven't taken any action. Why? Because your brain doesn't care about you doing something new. It's like, ugh. It doesn't care about you thriving. It doesn't care about you having a life you want. It's just like, bro, I just want to just chill. That seems very uncomfortable. Never mind. And so you have to be able to take your goal from thought to action. And how that happens, the in between, is decision. This is happening. Okay. For example, I caught myself when I wanted to start this weight loss challenge. It was 6 weeks. I'm still in it right now. And I wanted to win too. I have very clear reasons why I wanted to do this. It's a $500 if you win. So I'm like, ooh, I can use the $500. I'm going to spend it all on me. So that's going to feel good, right? I also want to get closer to my body goals. That's my second reason. And then I always go first for my clients. I am always living in breakthrough for my clients, because when you get on a call with me and you're telling me and you really believe you can't do something, I know you can, because I'm doing the impossible. And I can help you see that because I'm living in transformation. So those are my very clear 3 reasons why I start this challenge, right? But to win, when I talked to him, he told me the percentage you have to be. And I'm like, ooh, that's like 30 pounds. I spent like a few days thinking and like, oh, it will be nice. And my clients would be so inspired. And oh my gosh, 30 pounds. I've been like trying to like do that. This would be so good. And then I caught myself. Hold on. I'm thinking too much. Am I going to do this or am I not? So what is it for you that you keep thinking about that's just taking energy away from your life that you need to decide? Yes or no? And let's move on. Because if you're going to be a no, just be a no and use your brain space for something else. Okay. So that's an example, my personal example that I just had, where I caught myself. I was like, no, I'm doing this. So what did that look like? I decided because I wanted it. Of course, my brain's like, you can't lose 30 pounds in 6 pounds, 6 weeks. You've never done that. How are you going to do that? That's going to be too much. It's not the right time. It's birthday season. It's springtime. You got this and this and this event. I mean, my brain hit me with everything, but I expected it and I decided to move forward. Life has happened since those 6 weeks. So many things. Something happened crazy yesterday. I would share, but for the privacy of my family, I can't share everything. But you all know I try to be as transparent as possible. Things are happening. And my brain's like, you ain't got to go work out. You got so much going on. You ain't got to go do that. Or, oh my God, those cookies would be so good. Saturday, I spoke. Nothing but carbs, nothing but things I said I wouldn't have. I can be hungry. Let me have my coffee, right? Lunchtime. Oh, the cookie was so good. I was also nervous because I hadn't spoke yet. So I'm nervous. Brain's like, eat the cookie. You'll feel better. No, right? So life is happening. I will never lose this weight, and I would never have joined the challenge if I thought, oh, when life gets easier, when I have things simply figured out. I believe my issue is funding. Okay, let me go back. But I'm also working on my credit so that I can get the type of funding I need to move forward. Okay, so tell me what your goal is, Kiani. And then also, what I would say to that is you said that I'm struggling with making decisions on my future goals. Funding, credit score, none of that has anything to do with you making a decision. And that's real. I'm glad you brought that up because we tend to think circumstances need to be a certain way before we decide. They don't. They don't. You can make a decision in an instant. Decisions are actually in an instant. I know we're trained to thinking about it like this whole little experience is a decision. A decision is in a second. The moment I decided I'm joining, that was a second, right? So I want you to notice that you're thinking like, oh, my issue is funding, my issue is credit score, I have these circumstances I'm working on. No. When you say I'm struggling to make a decision on my future goals, that's a decision within you. Nothing outside of you has to be any kind of way. I do not have. Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, Brittany. Let me go back to here. I do not have the proper skills to write out business plans or a simple plan alone for what's to happen the remainder years of my life. I hope I explain myself. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting it. But also, that's a problem to solve, right? Like, notice your brain's telling you, oh, I can't make this decision because here again, another circumstance. No. What is your goal? My goal is XYZ. And then you just decide that's happening. And what happens is you become a totally different person when you decide that. The person who's thinking about something, this is for everyone. When you're thinking about a goal, you're thinking about something you want to create. That version of you is very different than the version of you is like, this is happening. The version that's thinking and contemplating and wondering and like, well, your brain, this is a normal thing. Trying to create a plan for a plan. Okay, if I do this and this, it's going to take this much time. Like, that version of you isn't doing anything. Like, notice that there's so much happening in our mind, in our body, but we're not actually taking action. But the version is like, this is happening. What happens, Kiani? You've given me several different things here. I'm going to show you how the version of you that's decided is different. So you said, I'm struggling. And I also want to thank you for being vulnerable because this is going to be helpful for everyone. And this, anyone watching, don't passively watch this. I'm not here for that. Comment. Tell me your thoughts. Give me your questions. If you're watching this because it's a goal that you keep starting and stopping or something you're thinking about and you're scared to do, let me know that. Don't waste your time at all. Get what you came for in this training, okay? We're talking about quitting on your goals. So what goals do you have? What have you been thinking about? Where are you struggling? Get your transformation in these few minutes. It can happen. I do it every day. Kiani, thank you for being our example. I appreciate that. So you said I'm struggling to make a decision on my future goals. There's nothing keeping you from making a decision on your future goal. Notice a decision is in a second. But I also want to use this example because I think this will be transformation for you and everyone else, right? You said funding is why. When I asked why, what's going on? Why are you struggling to make a decision on your future goals? You said funding. You said credit. You said the proper skills, whatever that means, to write out a business plan, right? This is how the brain works. This is so good because the version of you that is thinking about it, yeah, these three things are going to be problems. These three things are really convenient because your brain's like, until that's solved, then there's no way I can move forward. It's very natural. Like I said at the beginning of this training, your brain's resistance is going to come up when you're deciding to do something new in your life. I don't care what the goal is because we all have the same brain. You have to be on to what's happening. So we said funding, we said credit, and we said proper skills to write out a business plan. And those are your three reasons of like, I'm struggling to make a decision on my goals. What I want to show you is the decision needs to be made first and then watch what happens. When you are decided this is happening, all of a sudden these three obstacles become your strategy, right? When we're thinking about it and we're wanting comfort and we're like, oh, I'm struggling, and we're in that, they are our obstacles. But when you're like, this is done, they become your strategy. They become your to-do list. So all of a sudden, when you're decided, that's why I said the decision has to come first on your goals. When you are decided, Kiani, what happens is you're like, okay, this, and I'm gonna see if you wrote it, because I'm not clear on what your goal is. I would love to speak about your goal, like, but you didn't write it. So if you're still here, I want you to type my goal is, like, what is that goal? But for the sake of time, for you, my goal is dot. Okay. And I'm sure it's about business because of what you've been talking about. Okay. Well, then, and I'm going to do this. This thing is done, right? Now, all of a sudden, my issue is funding. What's your issue with funding? I'm assuming that your credit and the business plan is what's needed to get the funding, right? So the version of you that is decided is like, oh, okay, cool. Credit. What does my credit need to be? Cool. What do I need to do that? Okay, boom, boom, boom. It's like action, 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 action. Okay, great. Here's how I build my credit. Amazing. I've never written a business plan. Okay, how can I solve for that? Right? Versus the brain will put these obstacles in the way as a thing that's holding you back. You see the difference there? When you are decided, we start problem solving. There's nothing in the way of you deciding. Let me know what comes up for you if you're still here on that. And if anyone has thoughts about that, let me know too. You are too hard on yourself. Take time to breathe and get your power back. Thanks for offering that, Jeffrey. Okay. Hi, Laura. Hey, love listening to you. I work with Jordan and she put me on to you. I love Jordan. Mine is similar to yours, fitness and eating, constant battle for me and struggle with being consistent. It's so interesting. So I would ask Laura, like, what does consistency mean? Because I will be very clear, because oftentimes our brain thinks consistency is perfect. When in actuality, goals aren't reached that way. You're not going to reach your goal with perfection, period. So I like to think of this being inconsistency as part of my action plan. And if you look at it that way, I wonder if there's even an issue. And like, also, like, think about how important, I know you work with Jordan and she is very phenomenal with the mindset piece of it, right? So you may have already talked about this, but I'll remind you of, like, constant battle for me. That is a fight already. Whereas, what if fitness and the way I fuel my body is not a battle, but something that we're in this together? Like, it's a part of my experience. I'm doing this for me. I'm so proud of myself for leaning into what serves me, because a battle doesn't serve me. And there's no battle needed to be had when you talk about moving, like taking care of your body. You're talking about taking care of your physical and your internal body. I see that as opposite of a battle, right? That's the ultimate connection. And so just notice, like, the words you're using. When you're believing this is a constant battle, then you're going to create a constant battle, period. Because what we believe about something, we can't create anything else. And I know this to be true because that is what helped me to stop starting and stopping on my weight loss goal. That's what helped me to start my podcast and put myself out there. I had to see it as, wait a second, this goal isn't hurting or harming me. This is actually helping me to show up better for my clients, for my family. Every time I lead, every time I do the hard thing, I'm learning something for my clients. I'm learning something that's going to help my kids. I'm learning something that's going to help me when life continues to happen. So words are very powerful in how we see our goals. So I appreciate you, Laura, for bringing that, because many people do see their goals as a battle. Like, oh my God, I've been constantly working on this. When, think about it, every goal you have literally is, one, something you want, and two, something you don't have to do. Isn't that interesting? But this is very normal. Going back to normalizing our experience, we've been trained that things need to be hard. We've been trained that not only do they have to be hard, they have to go against the grain. Where what I've done, what I help my clients do, is see how this actually works alongside you. How might it be the best thing for you to have the fitness you want, to eat the way you want to eat? How might that actually be in total alignment with what's next for you? How might it affect you? How might It'd be the simplest thing. We talk about, oh, it's a battle. How is it actually very simple? Our brain likes to think, it wants to tell us that things are very hard so that we make it very hard and then we quit, right? Because your brain, remember, your brain just wants you to chill on a couch, watch Netflix, eat cookies. It don't care nothing about these goals you have. Some goals are temporary till you get to your purpose or place where you think you are supposed to be. Love that. Infrastructure is important. Kiani, okay, my goal is to start my own business in the healthcare field. Okay. Proper literature skills to write out a plan, creative interpretation. Basically, yeah, I'm getting all of that. But tell me if you understand what I'm saying, that you're not, first, it's, I'm struggling. You said I'm struggling to make a decision. It doesn't seem like that to me. You want to have, you said start my own business in the healthcare field. I don't know exactly what that means. Are you opening a home? Are you, whatever your specific goal is, that's a decision, right? But your brain is telling you, because you don't know how to write a business plan, because you don't have the funding, and because you're working on your credit score, that it's hard to decide on this. No, no, no. That is just your to-do list to get there. The decision's already done. But when we think that these things are in the way, then we won't make a decision. And that's a very normal thing that happens, because that's what our brain does. Your brain wants you to just chill, keep doing what you're doing, because it sees all these things over here as very scary, simply because they're new. But when you break it down, you're like, okay, I've never written a business plan. What's required? Okay, cool. That's my first thing. I'm going to go figure that out. What is required in a business plan? I mean, we got the interesting thing too. Now we have so much help, AI, all the things, right? But like every obstacle that you thinking is a way, and this is for everyone with your goal, what are the things in the way of you reaching your goal? Those become your to-do list, right? Like for me, back to the weight loss, I learned to stuff my emotions from childhood by eating. Food was always available when other things weren't. And so for me to have the body that I want, to feel the way I want to feel, my biggest obstacle was feeling my emotions, allowing them, using different ways to work through them versus grabbing the cookies, right? Versus overeating, versus eating for no reason at all, other than I'm bored, I'm sad, I'm whatever, I'm excited, even whatever, right? I connected food and eating with emotion, emotional comfort. I learned that as a kid. And this is important too, because as you're working on your goals, you're going to start seeing where your limiting beliefs, and that's simply just the thoughts that you have about yourself and your goal, they're limiting you. They're making things harder. The goal is actually simple. The steps to any goal is very simple. It's right? We can lay it out. But our mind crowds that. And most of that, every one of my clients has to come to terms with, or it comes up, what they picked up as a child. Because if you didn't know, and this is why if you have kids, it's really important to know this. Up until 6, 7-ish, your brain, your subconscious mind is wide open. I don't mean to get too nerdy, but you need to know this. That means every message around you, what your mama said, what your caretaker said, what the school said, what TV said, whatever, that just was poured into you, right? That was just poured into you. And that became your belief system. Even if it wasn't healthy, it doesn't matter. That became what you believed. And then those lay dormant subconsciously. You don't even know if they're there most of the time, but they're pulling you back from taking that step. They're pulling you back from doing that scary thing, right? They're making you think these different ways that hold you back. I understand what you were saying. Yes, there is fear. Yes. So we get, oh, this is so good. I can't thank you enough for like being our example for this training, Kiani. And I hope that you're taking this in, because this can be your transformation. Notice how when we started, you said, I'm struggling to make a decision on my business because I don't have the writing skills. I don't have the funding. I don't have the credit. And then we break that down and what all of that meant, we get underneath what's really here, and it's fear. This is for every one of you watching. Our brain will give us these very surface level reasons that make a lot of sense, because they keep us from feeling the emotion. I'll give you an example. In consultations, I'm constantly having consultations with women I don't know. They find me online. They hear something I said. They maybe was referred by a client, many different ways, right? And in my mind, I want to help, as I'm on a goal to help 100 women this year change their life. Okay. Hit my 100th woman. Okay. And I'm building a very real business. I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, I have big goals, doing God's work, changing the lives. So this is like a really amazing goal, right? That's what I want. And what I found, every time someone scheduled a consultation or DM me, there was this, and I didn't know what it was for a long time. And I was like even energetically hoping they canceled the call. I know this sounds crazy, but follow me. What I realized was, because I'm attached to, will they like me? Because I was attached to, will they like me? Or will I be able to help them? I don't know what, I don't know. Like, my brain, my very normal brain was giving me all these things to tell me that I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know if I can help them, because I believe so wholeheartedly in helping women get where they want to go, period, right? And my brain's like, oh, I don't know if you could do that. That's a big feat. And so, because I didn't know that that thought was laying dormant, I would have this energy of fear and scarcity, even like being scared and like nervous and all that. And I used to be like, oh, I hate consultations. Like, why am I being like this? But what I realized was, oh, that's my brain's way of self protecting. If I'm afraid and I'm believing, oh, I don't know how to help this woman, I won't be able to help her. Oh, I need to be liked, all of that. If I'm believing that, then what am I going to do? I'm going to hope she cancels the call. I'm going to not be myself on the call. Like, I'm direct. I'm going to call out things that your friends won't call out. That's how we recreate the results. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here for transformation, for what you want. And I noticed, oh, of course my brain is doing that because it's trying to protect me. So, Kiani, I want you to see that all the things that you shared, which is your brain's way of protecting you from the fear, the very real fear. And so if we want to get somewhere, let's just go to the heart of it. And it's like, yes, there is fear, right? So true. So yeah, so normal, understood, and love on that part of you instead of pushing it down and putting on these layers of credit score. Nah, you can figure that out. You figured out far more in your life. That's easy. It's nothing. It's this fear of maybe failure, but maybe even success. I've seen it go both ways. Fear of judgment, fear of, like, I talked Saturday about the importance of redefining failure. I had a whole shirt made because it is so important. So I don't know what your fear is, but that is the power of you noticing, like, oh, it's really the fear. So I love how you stayed with me there. And anyone watching, I want you to take, what is your thing? What is your goal? Your goal may not be Kiani's, but what's your goal? And what do you think is in the way of that? And then she stayed with me to get underneath, oh, this is the real work. Because this is where we can begin to actually shift. She's like, oh, there's some fear. Cool. Not a problem. We can work with fear. That makes a lot of sense because the brain is always fearful when we're going to do something new. Sometimes fear of the good, sometimes fear of the bad, whatever. You're welcome, Destiny. I'm glad that you're here. So with that being said, it's important, as I said, to make a decision. And as Kiani helped us to see, a decision is made in an instant. All the things that you think is between you and doing your thing, that is just brain drama. That's it. Because when you are allowing that, right? When you're allowing that to get in the way, what's happening? You're safe. You're not taking forward action. I can't take forward action. In Kiani's example, I can't take forward action. I don't know how to write a business plan. My credit score is this, my this and this and this, right? That's a person who hasn't made a decision. Versus the version of her is like, oh, this is done. She then she looks at those problems and then she begins to solve them. The brain wants you to keep those in front of you because we're putting all these obstacles in the way of actually doing the thing that we really want to be doing. Would fear and confidence go hand in hand? I'm trying to think of the way that you're asking that fear and confidence. So like if your fear, you lack confidence. I have a different take on confidence. I know that most of us, and you can clarify your question, CJ, if you need to, but most of us have learned confidence like the way we look, the way we talk. You know, when you see a woman walk in the room, like, oh, she's really confident. I don't really see confidence that way. I see confidence and the reason why is because it often makes us wait to be that person to do the thing. Like a lot of us are waiting on the confidence to do the thing we're scared to do, when in reality, confidence is built by doing the thing. But how I describe confidence is the thoughts, chosen beliefs that you have about yourself, regardless of what's happening around you. Like, for example, I might go into an event, and like as a matter of fact, I was at a an event where I'm pretty sure everybody in there had more monetary success than I did. They definitely had higher level type of careers. They were execs in their companies, all these different things. And, you know, from that situation, I felt like, ooh, I shouldn't be in the room, right? Like I don't know if I fit in here. But going back to my idea of confidence, I have thoughts about myself no matter what. I know that I can help everyone in this room. They might have the money, I have the tools for them to enjoy their money because they're currently not. I have solutions and skills. I have something they don't have. I also have the wherewithal within myself that no matter how much money I have, I can enjoy my life. No matter what's happening around me, house on fire, I can really find joy and be so grateful because of the skills and the tools that I have. Right. So, and I believe that I'm very good at what I do, regardless of what's happening around me. So I have all these different thoughts about myself that make me feel confident. Another piece I'll add too is confidence is having your own back no matter what. I have a podcast on that. Let me see if I can get it while we're talking. Does it? I don't think it cuts me off if I go to another screen. I hope not. Let me just write it down because I don't want it to cut me off. I have a podcast on that. Having your back no matter what. Like, isn't the most confident thing to do? It doesn't say, oh, I'm an end all be all, I know everything, I'm this and that. It's like, I'm going to have my own back no matter what happens. I'm going to do what's best for me no matter what happens. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to move myself forward. I feel like that's the most confident thing anyone can ever do. And so when you said would fear and confidence go hand in hand, what I like to also say about fear, so that's my thoughts about confidence. And my thoughts about fear is that it's a normal part of a life experience. There is no way around it. Not just fear, anxiety, nervousness, right? Rejection, embarrassment. I talked about that Saturday at the mini SavvyCon. These are emotions that we're trying to get around, and the reason, and that it's also the reason we keep stopping on ourselves because you can't get around them. But you can become the person that's like, I can feel any emotion. I can feel scared right now. Like Kiani, I can feel fear and I can still show up for my goals. I can write down, okay, what am I doing today? You know what I mean? And so being able to show up through that fear. I know I'm good at what I do, but I guess, am I good enough to compete with what already is out there? If that makes sense, it makes total sense. And what I would offer to you, and I love this vulnerability because I think this is what most, especially women, were thinking, is how do you define good enough? Where does that come from? How would you know? How would you know? This is for everyone to answer because we all have had that or we have it. Am I good enough? Do I know enough? Who defines that? Where do you get it from? How would you know? How will we prove that? That's one thing that I will share. The other is I truly believe this in my entire being. I feel it in my body. There is no competition on anything. I know this might sound crazy. Anything and anyone. Why do I know that? Because you can go to the grocery store right now and see 20,000 different brands of bread and they're all millionaires. They make bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can have, and I've had this happen and I have no problem. I've had coaches and, different people take something I've done and redo it themselves. You know what my thought is? Amazing. Because someone needs to hear it the way they're going to say it. Someone's in her network that's not in mine. I truly think that you can line up 30,000 of me, different types of women who do what I do, and we still wouldn't have enough. So there is no competition because nobody can be me. I can't be you. I can do the same thing you're doing and it land differently to the same people. So that's even made up. But what happens when we compare ourselves, what we do is we shrink ourselves, which is where this am I good enough to compete with other people. You shrink yourselves. There's always someone that's quote unquote, and we can define that in many different ways, doing better than you always. What do you want your time to be used on? Comparing and despairing, because that's what's happening, or how can I be better than me? I know we hear that and it's a cliche, but that is so true because no one can do, we can do the same, me and you can do the same exact thing, and I literally can never do it like you. Even if you gave me the script and you was like, just do this is what I do every day, it would be different because we are different beings. We have different energies. Through your own success and how it's manifesting, through your own, okay, you're talking about how do you know what good enough is, through your own success and how it's manifesting. Yeah, so like your own success. That's a good point. Like, good enough is defined by whom? It's always defined by you. Always. Like, what is it? It's like, what does that even mean? So actually with my clients, when they struggle with this, we define that. Because it's very simple. Like, okay, I'm struggling to think I'm good enough. Okay, cool. What does good enough mean for you? Okay, good enough might mean every day I do 2 specific tangible things towards my business, and I spend and do 2 activities with my kids, and I have 1 hour alone. Like, I'm just throwing something out there. Maybe that's good enough for you for your day in your life. Boom. Now you know. But when we throw these words out there of like good enough, smart enough, confident enough, what does that even mean? There is no tangible definition, so your brain actually never believes it, and it keeps giving you all of these thoughts to hold you back. And I want to say it sounds like a very good thing to think, but this is how our brain also holds us back too. Because while CJ and many other people watching, so thank you, CJ, for being brave, is wondering, am I good enough, and struggling with confidence, right? That's a very convenient way to prevent her from feeling the real thing, like Kiani found, the fear that was behind all the things. As long as I'm sitting here dilly whopping with, am I good enough? And do I know do I have what it takes? And can I figure this out? Like, as long as I'm spending time thinking about that, what I'm not doing is the very scary thing in my life, whatever that goal is. Because if we were just to like plop and take those thoughts out of CJ, if we were to just take those out of her mind, she wasn't worried about if she was good enough. She decided she was because she's here. She's defined what good enough was for her, and she's leading in that. She's okay with, I'm confident because I got my own back no matter what, even though I might be nervous, even though I've never done this before, even though I might be scared, da 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 da. If we took all of that out of her and she believed those things, what would be different? She will 1000% be taking action on her goal. So notice for you all, what are the thoughts? What are the problems that you are entertaining? That's really just a safety mechanism. This is why I believe so wholeheartedly that women need to stop putting their own personal goals on the back burner and calling it responsible. Something happened with your kid. Oh, you know, life is life. And no, we have to learn when to pause and when to push on our goals. That is my final step I want to give you. How do you stop stopping on your goals? Be very clear on when you want to pause on something or when you need to push. Our brain, especially as moms, and I can speak from the heart on this and tell you the hard thing. I have 4 children, ages 5, 8, 15, and 20. I have so many things going on with them. Some very good, some very disheartening. I have family things going on. I have my own, like, getting up every day and like putting myself out there for rejection. It is not an easy feat. Okay. So I'm telling you all that because you're hearing this from someone who's walking the walk. And that's why I have no problem with telling you the hard thing. We have got to, if you want to, stop quitting on your goals. You have got to stop using life, your children, work, people as your scapegoat. I have heard, especially those who are in a professional standpoint and they're wanting to move up at work, or you have a business you want to start. That is one of the top tier things. Oh my gosh, something happened with my kid and da 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 da. Oh my gosh, my family, my people. I'm being pulled different ways. My such and such is always calling. I'm always on, and it's like I don't have any time. You don't have any time because you're giving it away, and it's very easy to do. I love my teenage daughter, but she loves to ask me to do things last minute. And if I were going off the definition of what most people think a good mom is, that goes back to that, is it good enough? You're welcome, CJ. Is it good enough, right? People have thoughts about good moms and all the things, right? Of course, I should be saying, can you take me here? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you da? No. My daughter knows. Oh, if for whatever reason I'm not doing nothing, cool. But no, if I'm working and I have a 5 and 8 year old, I'm working. You have to entertain yourself. Or I've got them in places where they can be entertained or whatnot. Oh, I got this such I forgot about it. I need a ride. I'm sorry. I'm working. This was time I set aside for myself, right? Emotional things that they're going through. The point to all of this, anything that you find, like, oh, my girlfriend, she's going through something, and so you spend an hour talking to them on the phone. Love that for you. However, when you think like, oh, I keep stopping on my goals, I don't have the time, I'm exhausted. Where are you giving your time and energy to? Are you planning ahead what you're doing? Are you answering every phone call though that comes through? Are you answering every text? Are you, oh my gosh, I got to respond right now? That was one of the pivotal things I did when I started my business was, oh, I'm not just working my nursing job and then living life. I have a business, which means you can't just call me. And not only that, because I also have children I want to be present for. So anytime you, and I love my friends, I love my family, all of that, but I'm never just sitting here like, just gonna sit here until such and such calls. Oh, she called, great. No, I'm currently doing something. So that means if I answer, then I'm taking away from the thing I'm doing. I'm taking away from the post I want to make. I'm taking away from like this. I had a call cancel today, and I could have very well like, oh my house, dinner, this and the other. I could have went and got busy with that, calling friends, social media. None of that is innately bad. But I had an hour of work to do because I was going to be on a call, and then it was canceled. So I'm like, okay, what else is in alignment with working? And then I'm like, oh, I got something to share with my people. Let me share that, right? You've got to stop letting life, people you love, whether it be your kids, your partner, whatever, throw wrenches in your plans. So for me, what does this look like? We have some really hard things going on in our personal family right now. And I make space for that. I might be driving and I might start crying. At the end of the night, I just give myself time to decompress, all the things. I show up present in those situations. And at the same time, I get my ass up and I go to the gym this morning because that's for me. Of course, my brain's like, there's so much going on. Girl, just rest. Rest and do what? I'm going to stay here and not go work out and do what? Be on my phone scrolling? It's not like I can actually solve the problem. And that's something to really think about. How do I know when to pause my business, pause the thing I'm doing, or push through? When something is out of your control, why are you putting your life, your goal on the back burner? I can't control the outcome of that thing. So me not going to the gym this morning does what? It shows my brain that I'm not the greatest asset, that I can only take care of me when everything around me is okay. No. I take care of me first, regardless. Right? And then I am empowered and refueled and rejuvenated to then show up for everything around me. We've got it backwards. We've been trained to be selfless, to give out, to give to everyone else, to give. And then you take care of yourself when life is easier, when you have more money, when they're together. Well, that never will happen. You're always going to have a wrench thrown into your plans. And so the people who are like, oh, I'm just going to give, right? I'm going to give and make myself last and give myself the crumbs. You never do that because you are a phenomenal woman. You are strategic. You are a problem solver. You have energy that people would love to pull from. You are a light to be around. You get shit done. You think that there won't always be problems around you that you can solve? Absolutely not. You've got to get good at deciding what's mine to carry and what's not. And then out of that, you then have to get good at compartmentalizing. So my hour really is a 2 hours. It takes like 35 minutes to get there. I work out for an hour, 35 minutes to get back, right? So those 2 hours this morning, my brain's like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. You just need to relax and rest. But I know within those 2 hours, none of that time would actually be solving anything. And then I'm going to pile on, girl, you know you should have went to the jail. Jail. You should have went to the gym, right? You should have went to the gym. So then I'm like beating myself up because I didn't do what I know I should have did, and I didn't even use that time wisely. Now I'm just like scrolling, whatever, right? Notice that. What's yours to carry and what's not. And we have to compartmentalize. Those problems that you have, they're not going to get solved by you. Let me rephrase that. The problems that you have, actually, when you take care of yourself, you actually have the energy to solve them. You show it better, right? Because in my analogy, we were like, I'm here, give, and give myself the crumbs, which you never will have, because there's always gonna be problems to solve and people that's gonna pull and they're gonna take and all the things. Versus when it's like I give to myself first and then I give the overflow, we're parenting from energy. We're partnering from energy. We're problem solving from energy. We're refueled. I have my time. I took care of myself this morning, right? I'm going to read tonight before I go to sleep. I'm going to put things in place to take care of myself. So all of a sudden now I'm like, I'm not feeling any resentment. I'm giving all I can. And I feel good about that. Similar situation for me this morning, but my brain beat me. I laid in bed instead of going on a walk before work. Girl, I had already got 8 hours of sleep. That 30 minutes in bed did nothing for me. Totally. And what I would share with you, because this is so normal, and I actually get this personally because, let's see, we're in April. I think before March, probably, I was struggling so bad. I wanted to be a walk girly. A lot of my mentors walk every day and they talk about the power of it. I'm like, I want to see, I want to experience that. And I specifically want to do it in the morning. And so actually in February, I did like a week long of walking when I did my self-love week challenge. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk. My challenge to myself is I'm getting up and I'm walking every day, 15 minutes on my treadmill because it was cold, right? And after that, I fell off for a little bit. But what was interesting about this was that I started to ask myself, and this is what I would say to you, Laura, tomorrow when this happens. Well, first of all, let me say that you can still walk today. That was the one thing I had to tell myself. Okay, it didn't happen that way. Cool. What am I going to do with this day? What else am I going to do? When I'm decided this walk is happening, then what started happening was I started to ensure it got done in the morning because it was inconvenient to do it later, right? I didn't give myself the option. Do I want to walk this morning or do I want to walk later when it's inconvenient? I'm cooking dinner and whatever, right? It's actually a decision. And what I want to share is that now that you know this, I had enough sleep. My brain, I would get clear on what your brain said, right? What did it say? I'm tired. I'm like, whatever. I would get super clear on that because now that that's happened, you can't unsee it. And tomorrow it's going to happen again. See, we think it's going to go away. It's not. You just get better at how you deal with it. So tomorrow when it says that same thing, this is when you're like, oh yeah, I knew you would say that. I knew you would be here. And we get up, right? Like our brain likes to make us think that it needs to be on board with the things we're doing when we are the drivers, period. And whatever goal we got going on. Your brain's going to tell you all the reasons not to do the thing. For Laura, it's walking. For Kiana, it's taking the next step in her business, right? And like writing down, what do I need to do to write a business plan? Okay, what is needed for funding? Okay, what conversations do I need to be having? Right? I'm so glad you heard it, CJ. I'm glad you're here and thank you for weighing in. So what is that thing? What is that thing? And that's a decision. And your brain can be over here doing all these things, but that noise gets quieter. The more that you show yourself, I lead myself. I know that I'm not going to want to do this. I know how to get clear on all the things, right? So that's a decision. And it's very normal if it happens. She said, my brain talked me into laying in the bed. I lay in the bed, but then I saw, I really didn't even need that. So what I would say is like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so this. How might actually getting up and walking had given you more energy than laying there? Like this is where we want to flip what our brain is telling us on its head. How might it actually be better for me? Right? How might this actually be simple? How might this give me the fuel for the rest of my day and I feel amazing? What do another thing you can do, like this is where we just show up for ourselves and like, how can I make this easier? So like there may be a podcast, there may be something you're watching or listening to that you only do when you're walking, called habit stacking. There's so many different ways to show up for ourselves, So with this, it's important as I wrap up Thank you all for being here. Share your aha moments. What are you taking away from this? I really want to hear that. You've listened, you've weighed in. What is the next step for you? And for those that are just joining the replay, I also want to hear with you as well. But when we think about how do you stop quitting on your goals, you have to first see your patterns, know that they're going to happen, normalize them. It's very normal. Everyone has them. Whoever you look up to and who are doing all the things, they have the same exact drama you have. Their life is no easier. Okay. And understand why that's happening. Your brain doesn't care about you thriving in its life. It's like, girl, let's just survive. We just need to get through this day. We don't want to do anything hard. We don't want to expend any energy. And we definitely don't want to feel any emotional pain, which is required when you do something new. You're going to feel some fear. You're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel overwhelmed when you start doing something new and your brain's like, I can't do it. I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. That's normal. We just want to love on that version of you. We don't want to judge her. We just want to love on her, right? The fight or flight or fawn response is very real, and that is okay. We can still show up for ourselves, okay? But we also want to get clear when we are stopping on our goals, why? Make yourself tell yourself why you didn't do that thing today. And then you get to decide when you evaluate without judgment. We don't do this from judgment. We do this from so much love and grace. We're learning all these things together, and like, whoo, we're like doing things that most people aren't even thinking about doing. So we want to be so kind to ourselves. We want to take care of ourselves. But we want to evaluate, was that in my best interest? You'll know. Sometimes it is like, yeah, I needed that nap. I really did need to move that around in my calendar. I really did. I really wasn't in the headspace to do that thing. You'll know. Trust yourself to know. And then when you think about life as a mom, a woman, a business owner, a professional, whatever it is, volunteer work, I'm doing it all. Okay. When you think about that, what is in your control and what isn't? Because oftentimes we get overwhelmed by things around us, and then the first thing that goes is our personal plans because that doesn't impede on anyone else. We'll quit on ourselves before we quit on other people. Okay. Isn't that interesting? I show up for other people every day, and when I'm tired, the first thing I do is put mine on the back burner. Very normal. We have been conditioned as women to do that. But you need to get clear on, is this in my best interest? Is this out of my control? Because if it is out of my control, why am I putting my stuff on the back burner? What my kid is going through, why does that mean I can't go work out? Right? When what my mom is going through, my friend is going through, like, why does that mean I have to stop what I'm doing and answer the phone right now? Unless it's an emergency, right? Like, you know what's for you and what isn't, right? And so, and I lastly want to share with you to ensure that you create space. I cannot say this enough with enough eviction. Create space within your day to process. Many of you are waking up and running and then going to sleep exhausted. It's because of here. You are so overwhelmed with all the things that are happening in day to day. You think you're so busy. You think like this is how you feel. Just like that's what's happening. This is here though. You pause and you look around, everything is fine. People can have wonderful experiences, as in like your actual, we took your brain out of it and we just watched you. You've got plenty of time. You've got plenty of brain space. You've got plenty of opportunity, but it doesn't feel like that. It's like, oh my God, I was busy all day and I feel like I got nothing done. It's in the mind. You have got to slow down, and I'm strategically slowing my voice down because I really want you to pause and like look around. I'm actually okay in this moment. I actually have everything I need in this moment. Nothing is actually on fire. That is your brain making you think that. And when you're thinking that, you're feeling that, and then you're going to operate like that with your day, which is why things are like, when women talk to me like, oh my God, you do so much, you're so busy. I'm not busy. I'm purposeful. I have so much space in my day, not because I'm sitting around doing nothing all day, but because I'm doing what I want to do, because I'm intentional about what I'm doing, and because I'm taking care of myself. What that looks like might change throughout the days. If I need a moment, I'm taking it. If I need to put on a YouTube for 15 minutes so I can just decompress and have a long time, I'm doing it. Because if I am not well taken care of, no one in my home is taken care of. My goals are not being reached. My kids aren't getting the best thing from me. My clients definitely don't get the best from me. My partner, like everything around you that you care so much about, that you keep putting in front of your goal, actually benefits when you decide to stop doing that. These are the things I am taking with me from this live meeting. I'm glad that you were here. Oh, I can go back. I'm taking away acknowledging my patterns that slow me down and give to myself first, not neglecting myself, and then sharing the overflow. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Laura, stop making excuses. Do the thing that is going to make me feel better and be worth it in the end. Be kind to myself. Yes, and I would say you're not making excuses. Your brain is offering you thoughts that it always has offered you to keep you where you are because that's your brain's job. So your work is like noticing that, like, oh yeah, like I know every time I get up in the morning to go walk, my brain's like, girl, you just sit here 30 more minutes. You need this rest, right? That's normal. Nothing wrong with it. The work is noticing and deciding. Okay, and also I can go do this. The Mel Robbins 5 4 3 2 1, like that's super helpful in moments like that. Look her up if you've not heard of her. All right, y'all, that's all I have for today. This is what I do with women every single day. If there's something you want in your life that you have been struggling to do it, you keep quitting, you are exhausted on your way to it, it's not fun, you're overwhelmed, it's not what you thought it was going to be. This is what I help women solve. Because I truly believe that we are the assets within our homes, within our families, within our businesses, within the companies we work for. And when we are well taken care of, everyone around us, they benefit from that. And we've not been taught to take care of ourselves. We've not been taught to refuel ourselves, to decide what we want to believe about ourselves on purpose. We have not been taught to detach our worthiness from our productivity. They have nothing to do with each other. And when you come to this space where you're like, I am a freaking amazing human being just because, no matter what's going on around you, no matter what you failed at, no matter what you're doing, when you're able to detach that, not only do you have a better life, you have more energy, you're healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, but you also have the energy and capacity to work towards your goals and reach them, might I add. This is not a constant lifelong thing. The things you're working on is right in front of you, very simply fit, okay? And then you have also the brain energy and the connection to show up for those people that you keep putting in front of you, for those causes, those things that you keep allowing to knock you down. So normalize that for yourself. If you are wanting to solve this problem now, I am the person you want to speak to. We would do a one-to-one call where we talk about what that specifically looks like for you. They are free. You can DM me, or I will also drop the consultation link here in the chat. Everyone have a beautiful day. Love on yourself so much, and I love you for being here.